Welcome to day 5 of our prenatal practices. Today's practice is going to be all about getting you feeling good in your body, releasing tension and tightness. So it's going to work you from tips of the toes to the top of the head, but in a nice passive sort of practice. Props that will be needed are potentially blocks. They'll help support you, especially depending on what trimester you're in and how large your belly might be. So maybe have some available, but they're not required. They're just an option. And of course, towards the end of class for our Shavasana, anything that's gonna make you feel cozy and comfortable. So bolster, blankets, blocks, those will all come in handy. When you're ready, come into a comfortable seat, cross-legged, legs extended. You can sit on a cushion, you can prop yourself if needed. But once you're here, just start to find that long spine and your eyes can softly close. Feel yourself as you arrive here. Perhaps even feel into your seat, a little wiggle, settle in, get comfortable. And then maybe notice your thighs and your knees. Just give yourself permission to let go. Maybe notice if you feel those thighs and knees drop a little bit heavier. That's good. They love to stay engaged. They love to be ready for action, but here we're gonna settle in. Feel your heart lift up out of your hips and pelvis, and maybe even let your shoulders stack over your hips and feel yourself lean back ever so slightly. Try and think about making room around the belly region. So not only the front, but the sides and the back. So this whole sort of abdominal torso area. We want to think about length and space. Good, and then we're gonna begin by simply drawing our shoulders up around our ears and then rolling them forward. Inhaling them up and exhaling them forward. So this starts to develop that connection of breath with movement, inhaling up, exhaling down. Good, and you can go big or small. I know for myself, I'm getting right into it, nice and big. Good, but once you feel a little bit more fluid here, a little bit more open, let's go ahead and switch the direction. So draw the shoulders up and back, inhaling them up and drawing them back. Good. You might even feel any sort of internal clicks and cracks. It's usually just tendons rubbing around each other, so it's all good. Sometimes it's a little chiropractic adjustment, which that's a bonus. You're welcome. Good, but the next time that you roll the shoulders back, let them settle down. Good, and let the head give a little wiggle, a little wobble. Good, and then let that softening, that little wiggle and wobble, let it happen into the lower jaw. Go ahead, take a deep breath in. And a full breath out. Good, and let this breath serve you. So if you're feeling a little tight, your breath might not be as deep as it normally is. So just invite it, give the body permission to deepen. It may or may not. Good, one more. Maybe softly flutter open your eyes, adjusting to the light. Good. Let's find a little bit of movement through our neck here. So oftentimes we'll say drop your ear over your shoulder, but I want you to think about lifting with the tip of your left ear. Let it draw up towards the sky and then start to slide over to the right. Good, so no, not as lower down in our cervical spine as this sort of swivel action gonna happen. It's gonna be a little bit higher, so it might not be as sensational, but we're really creating the length as we open and stretch versus falling into that joint. Good, Good. Let that left shoulder be heavy. Let your elbows be heavy. Good. Notice if the heart is slouching. Let the sternum lift. One more big breath here. Good. And then on your next inhale, think of the crown of the head, the top of the head as it slides up towards center. Good. Give a little wiggle. Give a little wobble. Notice maybe that left side feels a little bit longer. Good. And then when you're ready, second side. So tip of this right ear, it's going to lengthen and lift towards the sky and then slide a little to the left. Good. Let that right shoulder drop. Let the jaw be soft. Good. Let those elbows be heavy. Big breaths here. Good. Two more. Last one. Awesome. Again, find the crown of the head right at the top. Let it reach and lift towards center. Good. Maybe a little wiggle, a little shake. Good. And then when you're ready, let's go on and switch and find our way into tabletop. This is a place where you might want your blocks nearby. So I'm going to go ahead and let them come towards the top of the mat, one on either side, and then find my way up onto my hands and knees. Good. And depending on how you're feeling in your body, you can always place your blanket underneath your knees for a little bit of cushion. We won't be here for too long. But from here, we want to roll the shoulders again onto the back body. Beautiful. As we exhale, hug the baby in towards the spine. So navel draws in, we round. We start to drop the top of the crown. We tuck the chin. We push the hands. We feel that length through the mid-back, the low back, even a little bit into our glutes. And then this time, as we inhale, we're just going to come to that place of neutral. So that place that is about parallel with the floor. Sits bones are reaching back, crown of the head lengthen forward. Good, let's do two more just like this. Round into cat, so baby draws towards the spine, push the hands, crown of the head drops, chin tucks. And then inhale, come on back to neutral. Good, one more just like this. Good, then we're gonna find that pelvic traction. So this time, as we round into our cat, exhale, belly draws in, pelvic floor is gonna draw in as we tuck the chin and drop the head. And then as we inhale, relax the pelvis, let it lower, come back to neutral. Again, exhale, push the hands, round, pull in and up through that pelvic floor. And then inhale, back to neutral. Good. Exhale, baby hugs towards the spine. Pelvic floor lifts. And inhale, relax the pelvic floor. Good. We've got final 5 here. Good, last 4. Baby to the spine, hug it in, pelvic floor lifts. Inhale, relax the pelvic floor, lengthen. Last 2. Good, last one. Baby hugs in, pelvic floor lifts. Inhale, relax, back to neutral. Good, beautiful, awesome. From here, we're gonna find a little bit of movement through our hips. So draw the big toes together, let the knees splay apart, sink the hips back towards the heels. Good. From here, you might even just simply rest on the elbows and forearms, especially if you're concerned of a little bit of space with the belly. You're again welcome to use your blocks. Sometimes it feels nice to rest the forehead. You can play with the height. Good. Of course, if space is not an issue, you can let those hands lengthen a little further as you lower the chest. Find length through the underarms. Let the forehead be heavy. Good, but notice this first child's pose. We're gonna do this twice. So notice your outer hips, the low back. Notice how it feels to let the belly sort of hang here. There's a slight engagement of drawing baby in towards the spine, but it's okay to let it hang here a little bit, let gravity take a little pressure off the low back. 2 more big breaths. Good, last one. Beautiful. Easing out nice and slowly. Press the hands. Start to lift the forehead if it's resting on hands, the mat, or the blocks. Start to lift the hips. Come to your elbows and forearms. Good. If you're not already there, press into the hands, lengthen through the arms, and walk your knees back into about neutral here. Good. Let's open a little bit through our side body. So we're going to walk our hands over to the right. Feel the sits bones reach back. Start to shorten that right side, so that right hip is gonna snuggle up towards the right shoulder, and you might turn your gaze looking back over that right shoulder. Reach back through that left hip, so we're lengthening through the left side. Good, 1 more breath here. And then slowly start to walk the hands back through center and over to the opposite side. So walking the hands to the left, we're gonna shorten on the left side. This left hip is gonna draw towards the left shoulder. We're gonna reach that right hip back so it's reaching away from the right shoulder, getting long on the right side. Again, I'm turning my gaze sort of back over that left shoulder, just creating a little bit more length through all the way to the crown of the head. Good, 1 more big breath. And then slowly walk the hands back through center, back to table. Beautiful. From here, we're gonna find a little bit more movement through the hips, so let your hands come a little bit forward, creating a little bit more space. Let the hips draw to the right, let them come forward, let there be softness in the elbows, and over to the left, and then back. So making as big or as small of circles as feels good in your outer hips. Good. Again, you might hear little cracks through your knees, usually a little air bubble popping. But of course, if anything doesn't feel good, if there's any sort of grinding, we don't want to feel that, so just ease out. Good. But the next time that those hips come back towards the back center, let's switch directions. So draw the hips to the left, forward, over to the right, and back again. Good, so notice if this side is different. If there is a tender little spot, a little knot, you might simply hold, let the hips hang out to the side if that feels good. Maybe keep that fluidity, that mobility in our hips, the movement. Good. All right. The next time that those hips start to come back, let's go ahead and walk yourself back to neutral. So walk those hands back underneath the shoulders. Beautiful. All right, lower body here. So let's lean to the left. Start to draw this right knee. It might come a little bit wide. We'll step that right foot forward. You can use your hands. You can remove that right hand and then draw this right foot in a little bit closer. But of course, if the belly is becoming a little bit in the way, it's all good. Keep that right foot wide. This is a place where your blocks might serve you. So start to find your blocks underneath your hands. Good. from here, we're gonna start to let this left hip come forward a little bit, and we're gonna wiggle this right foot forward. Good. Heel stays heavy as we draw the toes up and back. So we're gonna open up through the back of our right calf as well as our right hamstring. So square the hips, left hip forward, right hip back. Press the hands, lift the chest, so create more space for the belly, and continue to reach through the crown of the head. So the spine is long, shoulders on the back. We're just gonna hold here for a moment. So depending on how tight you might be feeling in your hamstrings, you might have a deeper bend, you might be able to lengthen your leg a little longer or straighter. But we're really honoring our bodies here, just to that point where you can feel the stretch and still breathe your full breath. Good. 2 more breaths here. Good. To release, take your time, there's no rush. We're gonna point the toes, slide this right foot. You could move your hand or block if it's in the way. Maybe that right leg comes a little bit wide, but it comes to meet the left. And we'll find the movement on the second side. We've already got the height of the blocks to help support us a little bit here. So lean to the right, let this left foot come a little bit wide, wiggle it, guide it forward. Good. And then from here, wiggle this left foot forward as best as you can. Heel stays heavy, toes draw up and back, and we square the hips. So right hip forward, left hip back. And again, we're creating space, opening our heart, and as best as you can, try and relax the face, relax the jaw. Beautiful. And being gentle with ourselves throughout all of our practices here, knowing that our body is shifting and changing, so it might not be how exactly it was a week ago, a day ago, months ago, but really embracing what is. 2 more big full breaths. Good, great work. Okay, point the toes, give yourself a little bit of space. Hips might come forward a little bit, bend that left leg, start to drag it back, maybe move blocks and hands, and then draw that left leg wide as you guide it back to meet the right. Good, you can release your blocks for the moment. You might not even need them for the rest of the class, you may or may not. But from our tabletop, again, find that child's pose. Big toes together, knees splay apart, second child's pose. So sink the hips back. Again, find what works for you. Maybe with the legs being a little bit more open, you might be able to come a little bit deeper. You might stay high, you might come low, you might stack your fists. Wherever you are, think of the hips as reaching back. And then the chest is heavy here. And again, the belly might hang a little bit, but that slight engagement of pulling baby in towards the spine, giving it a little hug. 2 breaths. Beautiful. Once you release, let that forehead start to lift. Release your hands, your blocks. Maybe press into the forearms, push into the hands, push into the knees, lift your hips, and slowly draw your way back up. Draw those knees back into center. Curl all 10 toes under. Good. Find a little bit of softness in the elbow. Again, engage through the core. So hug belly, hug baby, draw it in towards the spine. Start to float the knees. We're going to keep the feet a little bit wide. So maybe let them widen as you start to lift the hips, push into the hands, find the length, and then reach through the heels. And from here, again, you can update, you can adjust, it's all good. You can wiggle into it a little bit, but let those heels reach for the mat here. So we want to open up through our lower half of our leg. So feel those calves start to stretch, push into the hands, feel that belly start to hang. Good, one more big full breath here. And then from here, again, soften a little deeper into the knees, start to walk the feet forward towards the hands, and again, let them be a little bit wide. Again, making space, making room for baby. And then from here, you're welcome to use your blocks if that serves you. Maybe again, resting hands, maybe forearms, but let the head go as best as you can. So shake your head, yes. Shake your head, no. And then let the head hang heavy. Good, you can have as deep of a bend in the knees, but ideally we're pressing a little bit into our feet, lengthening through the backs of the legs, lifting our sitting bones, while simultaneously letting that upper torso hang heavy. One more big full breath. Good. From here, start to lift the gaze a little bit, just to that space in between the hands or the blocks. Let your blocks release to the side. Good. And then bend into the knees, so much so that you can start to feel the hands on the earth. Begin to walk your feet back. There's no rush. Good. And then come on down to knees and eventually all the way onto your seat. Good. Awesome. All right. From here, let your feet be out in front of you. Let your hands come back behind you. So lifting our chest, we're going to lengthen the left leg long and cross the right ankle over the top of the thigh. So above the knee, a little bit closer towards the body. Flex through this right foot, so press out through the heel, toes draw back. We've got this sort of number 4 shape with our legs. That's great. You can stay as you are, flexing through the left foot. You can start to bend into the leg, drawing this left thigh a little bit closer towards the knee. And you might even press into the fingertips in order to lift the chest and roll the shoulders back. Good. Again, belly might be a little bit of an obstacle here in our pigeon pose here, seated. So just be mindful, it's all good. But ideally, we're pressing this right knee away. So there's that little bit of an external rotation. Big full breath in. Big full breath out. Good, one more. Beautiful. Start to slowly lower or slide that left foot away. Let the right leg release off. Maybe a little windshield wiper. And then second side. Bend into the left leg, crossing the left leg over the right thigh this time. Good. Maybe flex the right foot, keep both feet flexed, active here. From here, maybe start to draw the heel onto the floor, maybe guiding that right knee a little bit closer. I like to plant my right sole of the foot, but again, I'm pressing that left knee away. I'm lifting through the chest as I push into the fingertips, elongating my arms, rolling my shoulders back, opening the chest. Big full breath in. Big full breath out. Final 2. Good. Awesome. Again, start to slowly slide that right leg long. Good. And we're going to come into cow face pose. So for some, you might keep this right leg long as you slide the left leg sort of around and over to the right. Good. If it's available, you might lean to right hip in order to bend the right leg and come towards a full cow face here. Ideally, hips are nice and square in between. Shins might come a little bit forward if you're stacking knees, but of course, again, that right knee can be bent. It's all good. Keep both feet flexed, whichever variation you have. Start to lift the chest, soften the shoulders. Let the head be nice and soft on top. Go ahead and draw the right arm forward and up. Let the bend at the elbow so you can draw the right fingers towards the top of the right shoulder. Left hand might simply come up and over, and then we're gently pressing this right elbow back in order to lengthen through our tricep. Big breath in, lift your heart. Big breath out. Last one. Release left hand off of the elbow, right hand can lengthen, and we're simply switching sides. So left arm draws up, bend at the elbow, fingertips find the top of the shoulder, right hand comes up and over, finding the elbow. Again, pressing that left elbow back slightly. Fingertips might slide just a 0.5 millimeter or 2 down your back. Feel the back of this left arm start to lengthen. One more breath. Good. Releasing the right hand off of the elbow, left arm lengthens and comes forward. Good. We're going to release our cow face here through our lower half of our body. So lifting that right leg off of the left. Good. Slide that right leg out. Beautiful. Again, maybe a little shake, maybe a little wobble. And then second side. So left leg can stay long if that served you best. Right leg will bend, crossing this right leg over the left, working towards stacking the knees. You can stay with this left leg, flexing the foot. Good. Or if it serves you, lean to the left, draw this left heel back a little closer towards that right hip. Again, even out the weight in your sitting bones to the best of your ability. Knees are working towards stacking. If you're in this variation, that left leg is extended long and foot flexed in the other variation. But from here, lift the heart, extend through the crown. We're gonna find a little stretch through our left arm. So extend the left arm forward, let it cross over to the right, grab a hold of the forearm, drop the shoulders down, pull this left leg back in towards the chest as you lift through the crown and extend through the fingertips. Take a deep breath in and a full breath out. One more. Good. Softly release the arms. We're going to gently switch sides. So right arm reaches out, crosses over the body. Left hand grabs a hold of the forearm. And relax your shoulders. Reach up through the crown. Lengthen with the fingertips. That palm is turning back, and we're gently pulling this right arm in sort of towards our chest, underneath our chin. Good. Big breath in. And full breath out. Good. Last one. Beautiful. Again, release the grip, release the arms, give a little shake if needed. Let's go ahead, release our legs, take your time, let them lengthen out. Give a little release. Good. All right, last couple movements here. So from our seated position, legs are open wide out in front of us. We're gonna let our legs open wide now in either direction. Feet are flexed, knees are soft here to the best of our ability. So if you tend to hyperextend, we want a little bit of softness. And if you're quite tight, there might be a deeper softness, a deeper bend. So it's all good wherever you are. Press into the sitting bones, lift up through the crown of the head. Let the left hand find the floor. We're gonna inhale, right arm out to the side. And we're simply gonna gently lean to the left. Good. Try and think about rolling this right side of our chest and shoulder back versus collapsing and rounding forward. Big breath in and full breath out. Good. Using this left hand on the floor for support, push the palm, reach out through the crown, come on back up through center and gently switch sides. Right hand down, left hand up and over, lean to the right. Good. And again, rolling that left side of the chest back. Big breath in and full breath out. Good. Using the right hand, push into the floor, reach through the crown, come on back up through center, lowering left hand down. Using your hands for support behind the backs of the thighs or knees, start to bend, lean back, and then slide the soles of the feet together. Good. Let your knees open wide. Find a little bit of movement, a little flutter, so maybe a lifting and dropping. Good. Could be one at a time, both together. Good. And then with your hands, whether they are on your knees, your shins, your ankles, wherever they are, press the sitting bones, lift up, reach through the heart, let those shoulders roll back. Good. Take one more big breath here. And maybe walk the hands down, maybe start to draw the chest forward. Again, mindful of our bellies here. We're not squishing, we're trying to keep the spine long. So just a tuck of the chin. You might not come as forward as you might in a yin practice where you're rounding the spine. We're keeping it long and tall here, lots of space for the baby and the breath. Good. One more breath. Pressing feet towards each other, push into the sitting bones, lift the heart, start to lean back, come back up, stacking shoulders over hips. Good. For our Shavasana, if it's comfortable to be on your back body, we're gonna keep our diamond shape. So for myself, I'll pivot on my mat a little bit here, locating my props for those in second trimester. Again, we're gonna build our little lazy boy recliner, stacking our blocks, one a little bit taller, second one a little bit shorter, allowing for that little recline. And then placing the bolster onto the blocks. Begin to press into the sitting bones, lift up. Maybe grab a hold of the bolster as you lean back and feel the head, neck, and shoulders supported on the cushion. If it doesn't serve you to be in this diamond shape with your lower half of the body, maybe just simply lengthen the legs long. Good. And if you're in your third trimester and it's not serving you to be on your back, let's go ahead and start to find our way onto our left side. So adjust your hips, maybe come down onto the left hip, left elbow and forearm, using your props for support. Today I'm going to use a block as my pillow. Luckily they're foam and squishy. Bolster in between my thighs and knees. Second block and just rest at the side. I like to extend my lower left arm out in front of me and then just simply rest my left ear on the block. Good. Resting hand on my belly. You can always prop up the belly with placing a blankie or a pillow underneath just to take a little bit of the weight. And then settle in, come back to the breath. Let go of any efforts of your practice. And just feel the body relaxing here. Let the weight sink into the floor. Relax any lingering tensions, especially in the jaw. Feel free to stay as long as your body guides you, but when you're ready, allow your top hand to maybe find the floor in front of you. Begin to press into the hand. Slowly walk and support yourself back up into seated, coming into that comfortable seated position, whether it's with props or just you on your mat. Feeling into your seat like we did at the beginning of class, a little wiggle, and then feel that heart lift up out of the hips and pelvis, shoulders soften, and face relaxed. Taking a deep breath in, deep sighing breath out. Big breath in, big breath out. Slight tuck of the chin, let your hands come together at your heart center, palms touching. Thank you for taking this time to connect to your body, your breath, and your baby. I hope to see you again soon. Take good care. Namaste.